Hey, this is Adam from Side Hustle University, and in this class I'm going to be demonstrating how you can calculate when your side hustle will be profitable. So let's jump into it. So launching and growing a successful side business is not really an easy task. It takes a great product or a great service, and it takes the ability to market your product or service, but it also takes a great understanding of your numbers. And so in this video, I'm going to give you a high-level view of the numbers that you should master before launching your side business. So it really all comes down to your sales, your gross profit margin, and your overhead expenses in order to calculate your break even. And as you'll see, there's a bunch of different levers that we can try to push or pull to impact these numbers. And I think examples can really help provide some clarity. So I'm going to do something a little different in this video. I'm going to use an example of a coffee roasting side business where you sell coffee by the bag to individuals and businesses. We're going to assume that you buy the coffee in bulk, that you roast it, and then you sell it by the pound to businesses and individual customers. And I'm going to actually show you just how I would build a spreadsheet template from scratch to calculate when I can expect to reach profitability for the side business. And I'm going to talk you through my thought process. So I'm starting out with a blank spreadsheet template here, and I'm going to create some financial projections here for the next 12 months. And the thought here was to be able to really show you the whole process from the beginning, rather than starting out with some completed template that I already built, where you didn't really get to see how it was built. I wanted to really build that from scratch. So it's going to take a little bit longer maybe to walk you through this, but I think hopefully it will end up being useful for you as you kind of watch the process. So the first thing we do with any financial projection is sales. We start with sales projections, and we're going to look at splitting these sales kind of into two buckets for this coffee roasting business. We're going to have individual customers that buy coffee by the pound from you, and then we're going to have business customers. And so I've split this up, and what we're going to do is we're going to kind of build out some assumptions. So instead of just saying month one, I assume we're going to sell $100 worth of coffee, we're going to work up to that dollar amount. We're going to start with various assumptions. So to start on the individual side, we're going to have our number of new customers each month. You'll see I'm highlighting that in blue, and the reason I'm highlighting these cells in blue is because I tend to highlight the cells that are assumptions that I can change. And some of these cells are going to be equations, and I won't highlight those ones because I don't want to change those equations. But I can play around, and I could put in 25 for the number of new customers this time, and then I could change it to 50 and see how that changes our numbers. So we've got number of new customers, and then we've got number of customers that cancel each month. So we're looking here to ultimately come up with your total number of active customers, which is includes both new customers and canceled customers. And so what I did here, I'm going to add a 10% growth rate each month. So I added that equation there by multiplying last month times 1.1 means you'll have a 10% increase each month of canceled customers. And then we're going to also have new customers coming each month, and I'm going to increase that by 10% each month as well. The first month was different. I started out with 25 new customers because I'm assuming that maybe you built up some customer base before you even started the business, and then start to drop off those new customers from there. So the second month we start with 5 and grow 10% a month from there. And now we want to calculate our total number of active customers, which is So in this first month, it's just your new customers minus those that canceled. Now in the second month, it is actually last month's active customers. So I'm getting that 23 plus the new customers, 5, and minus the ones that cancel, and dragging that across. So you'll see our total number of active individual customers here. Now we need to go through the same thought process for our business customers. So I'm going to end up just copying the formatting here and everything from above, and just copy this down into the business customer section. Now with business customers, we're probably assuming these are larger customers. Maybe you have less of them, but maybe each new business customer ends up buying more. So I drop that down to 5 new customers to start. And then maybe, let's say we really focus on trying to build new business customers. So let's leave that at 5 new customers each month, growing at 10% monthly. Hopefully your business customers will cancel a little bit less often. They'll be more stable. And so I also reduced our number of customer cancellations. And then I'm just going to clarify here, total number of active customers are individual and then businesses. So now that we've done this, we can start to think about, okay, we know our number of active customers. How much are they going to buy each month? And so I'm going to do this as a number of pounds. So we're going to assume that there's an average number of pounds purchased per month for both individuals and then for businesses. And, it probably makes sense that the individual or the household customer is probably going to purchase less per month than a business might. And so we're gonna include that in our assumptions here. Now, again, you'll notice we're quite a ways into this and we haven't even mentioned anything about dollars yet. We're still just kind of building out our underlying assumptions that will ultimately soon get us to start talking about dollars. And, I would encourage you to kind of go through the same thought process as you're building out your revenue projections. And we're going to share this template in the description of the video below. And so you'll be able to actually take this template and play around with it yourself. And if you're comfortable with Excel, you can, take this and customize it for your needs. Or you can always reach out to us and we can try to help you build something that is a little more custom to your needs as well. So now we are finally getting into dollars here. So now we need to build some assumptions around the average price per pound that you sell your coffee to for individuals and then businesses. Now I'm going to assume it's different. You probably are selling to individuals at a higher dollar rate per pound because you're selling less at a time. And so the businesses maybe are getting a bulk discount. So I'm going to say $13 per pound for the individual, and let's say $11 per pound for the businesses. And I'll admit I am not a coffee roaster expert, so I don't know exactly if 13 is a good number. This is not a recommendation on how to price your coffee roasting business. This is just for example purposes. But all right, so now we're going to be able to calculate our total sales for individual customers and our total sales for our business customers. We have all the pieces that we need to be able to calculate that now. And then ultimately, we'll add those two individual and business sales numbers together to come up with our total sales for the business. So to start, we're going to take our number of active customers that are individuals, multiply that by the average number of pounds purchased per month by an individual times the average price per pound that an individual pays. We'll drag that across and we've got our total sales for individuals. We'll do the same thing with businesses. We'll take the active number customers that are businesses times the 5 pounds per month that they purchase times the $11 per pound. We'll drag that across and be able to calculate our total number, sales number here for both. Then we'll just add both of these two together, individual and business, and drag this across, drag this across, and we will have our total sales projections for the first 12 months. So making good progress. The next thing we need to do is talk about cost of goods sold. Now, if you remember, cost of goods sold is those expenses that are related to what it takes to produce the product. So in this example, what are the costs that it takes to produce the coffee that you're selling? Well, obviously it's the cost of the coffee beans. And we're going to do all of our cost of goods sold as a per pound assumption to start with. So it's cost of the coffee beans, cost of the packaging for your coffee, and then cost of shipping. Those are really the three major categories I think you're going to have in this business example. And you may have different examples or different costs in your business for sure. So I'm going to say, let's say it costs $3 per pound. That's what you're paying wholesale. So when you buy in bulk, maybe 40-pound bags or something, you're paying $3. And maybe this is for the raw coffee beans that are not roasted yet, and you're going to end up roasting them. So this is $3. And then we're saying cost of packaging per pound is 50 cents. And cost of shipping per pound is $1. And so this will give us our total cost of goods sold per pound, and that's going to be $4.50. Just add all of those together. And now we're going to need to determine how many pounds of coffee we sold. We actually didn't calculate that up here anywhere, so we're going to have to go through a calculation. I'm going to grab that by taking the number of customers that we have as individuals and the average number of pounds they purchase per month, and the same thing, average number of pounds purchased per month for businesses, and then add those together, and that'll give us our total number of pounds sold. So yep, we'll just come up here to get that total number of active customers times their 1 pound per month. Put that in parentheses, and you can see how I'm building out this equation, plus our total active customers that are businesses times their 5 pounds per month. And now this equation is going to give us our total number of pounds sold. Drag that across. And there we have it. We have our total number of pounds sold for each of our 12 months. Now we can calculate our total cost of goods sold. It's just going to be our $4.50 per pound times the number of pounds that we sold that month. And now, you might, your cost of goods sold could go down as you buy more in bulk or as you grow. But for this simple example, we're not going to even, we're just going to assume it stays the same. Now we can calculate your gross profit, which is your total sales minus your total cost of goods sold. So good, we have a gross profit right off the bat, which we should in this type of business. We should have gross profit from day one. Now, what we need to do to determine your break even, you're not done yet in determining break even because you have overhead expenses. So these are fixed monthly expenses that are not cost of goods sold. So things like accounting, advertising, cleaning, insurance, supplies, utilities, wages, and these are just some things that I could think of off the top of my head for this coffee roasting business, but certainly there could be many other overhead expenses I didn't add rent in here if you needed a place to rent to do your coffee roasting, but maybe you're doing it in your garage to start with. I don't know. And so you'll add in all of your overhead expenses. And we're going to say that, again, let's assume these all stay the same each month for simplicity's sake. Drag that across. Now we have our total overhead expenses. We'll just add all of those together. And then you'll also notice I didn't add any wages in this first year. I'm assuming you're doing the work yourself, and your wages, your income is really the profit of the business, and you'll probably only pay yourself if the business is profitable. So now, net income, this is the net income or the profit of the business. It's just your gross profit minus your total overhead expenses. So we're going to drag this across, and we get to see this. And there you go, month 2, you can see we break even in month 2 in this example. So that is great news. And you can see that, again, if you added wages there for yourself, it would be a different story. You wouldn't break even yet. So you need to, go in and play around with these assumptions to see what you think is most realistic for your business and when you might break even. All right. So there is the crash course on projecting your break even for a coffee roasting side business. Again, we're going to make that template available to you that we created together. We'll just put that in a link down in the description of this video. Thanks for tuning in. And again, leave a question in the comments or contact us directly.